Okay, hey everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to the Xpress AI live stream, the weekly stream. That is not always weekly, but it is definitely always a stream. Yeah, I think we can say that for sure. And that is looking really weird. But yeah, welcome to the stream. This week we're mainly going to be doing work, so I'm kind of thinking it's going to be a chill kind of stream where I make some stuff in prep for the Builders Weekend hackathon that we're doing next week. And there's a lot of interesting stuff to do there. One interesting thing from last year's Builders Weekend was that there was not a lot of there wasn't like a lot of time for the teams to kind of form the team before the hackathon, right? Like a lot of the team deciding and team building kind of happened after, and that's always a really chaotic time in a hackathon because sometimes you don't really have an idea of who you want to work with, and different people have different skills, and there's some things that you want to do, and now you have to just go and talk to strangers and figure out if what you're doing, and then you might be like, okay, this team's doing exactly what I want to do, but then they have 3 designers and you're also a designer or something like that. So yeah, I thought it would be good to have a team matchmaking type of app for Builders Weekend, and it seems to me as something that like famous last words, but I was like, yeah, that's something that, how hard can that be? We can totally do that with some of our tools. And of course, like I said, famous last words. Let's see how it goes. It might not be so easy, but I don't think it's going to be that hard per se. We'll give it a shot and see how it goes. Yeah, and it's going to be a web application, but then also a chat bot. So we want to create this chat bot for the Discord, where people can just like interact with it, ask questions, things like that. And I was thinking, well, we kind of had a bot last year, so we're just going to kind of do the same thing. So yeah, that's the plan for today. Let's kind of get started. It might take a while. I hope it doesn't, but we'll see. Let me get my display situation set up. That is not in the right location. Let's see. Let's get this up and running. How's everyone? If it is your first time here and you're kind of wondering what we do, well, then this is going to be a good chance to see what we usually do. I am about a few pixels left. There we go. Yeah, I kind of need my mouse to follow the right place. I do things this way. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be using the beta platform, which is going to be an open beta for the Builders Weekend. Essentially, we're going to let signups for everyone in Builders Weekend. Kind of like open it during the start of Builders Weekend, let people sign up, and then we'll close it again. Then for the hackathon, kind of support everybody. If anybody has any issues with the beta platform, we'll help them fix it. And then right after Builders Weekend, the plan is to start letting in more people into our, in the wait list. There's like a lot of people in the wait list. It's been a while. So if you have been waiting in the wait list for a long time, definitely apologize for that. When we started that wait list, I didn't think it's going to take as long as it did. But yeah, I think it's worth the wait. This is definitely a lot better than what we had before. So we had to like make two systems essentially. But anyway, let me give a quick intro to the platform and what we have going on here. For those who are new, or for people who are watching the live stream later and don't really know much about Xpress AI. So Xpress AI, we build this platform that allows you to, with no code, drag and drop components together and deploy those as services and agents. And the idea is really that it allows you to create very sophisticated agents very quickly. And I have some demos and things that I've been building here. And there's no limit to what you can build, right? So that's one thing that I think is a distinguishing feature between what we do and what other people do. So it kind of gives you a lot of freedom for what you're doing. Now, this is aimed for kind of developers who are trying to make AI agents and co-pilots into their apps, and we want to support them in that process by making it easy to build a sophisticated agent and have it, scale. So if you're interested in learning more about it, go to our website, Xpress AI, sign up, and you'll get onto the waitlist. And that waitlist is now almost ready to get open, right? So you won't have to wait long if you sign up now. And again, apologies to the people who signed up a long time ago, because we've been kind of working on this for a long time, right? So I kind of expected we'd be done, but we kind of had to build it from the ground up again, just to be better. The AI landscape has really changed. But first let's go through a quick overview of the thing. So this is the Xpress AI kind of dashboard, the platform essentially. You can see your circuits diagrams here, all rendered in real time. These are the actual diagrams. And then you can see your agents. So you can have a couple of agents running. You can also build services, and services are mainly just the same thing, but you notice there's no chat here. So like if I have an agent that has a chat, it will allow me to chat with it if that's not broken. Of course, beta, so some things might be a little weird in the next few days. But it's really easy to create an agent, and then you just pick the circuits file of that agent and run it, and that's how that works. Services are anything that has an HTTP API. So there's a few component libraries that expose that, and we support just running anything on it, and it will become an API. So for example, this translator service isn't it's a bot, but it's not necessarily an agent. So I'm using OpenAI to help me translate some channels in Slack so that I can have my team that's more international work with our Japanese customers and partners. So yeah, you can make services that aren't chatbots, but that are using agents or OpenAI and things like that in the backend. And then we have our vector database, Vecto, built in, and that allows you to just like push data in here and then query it from as you would any kind of vector database. It's all built in and tightly integrated with the agent platform, so I think that makes it very nice. And then we have a lot of integrations in the works, right? Where you can integrate your application, like the different APIs that you want to integrate, not just things like not things like Zapier, because I mean we totally will eventually, but we also kind of want to keep things more developer focused right now. So when you think integrations here, think more like RabbitMQ, databases, Twilio, and these kind of things. So yeah, so that's that. The plan today is just to build the entire app, like the whole team matching app in circuits, deploy it as a service, add on the Discord bot, and then see if we can make it possible so that people can either talk to the Discord bot to get matched up with a team, or go to the website and sign in. So we're going to be making a whole web app here. And yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to do this, not in my personal project, but a new project. So I'm going to go here to my projects. I'm going to create a new project called Builders Weekend. Builders Weekend Services, something like that. And we're going to have an empty project here. We're going to be filling in this project template thing with a few new templates this week. So you'll have like lots of places to get started from. Yeah, and you can always specify a custom one to get started from. So we'll do that. I'm going to start with an empty project because we're kind of doing this from scratch, and maybe this will become a good project in the near future for somebody. But anyway, so let's switch to the Builders Weekend Services. We have nothing here. So I'll open the Agent Studio and we'll get started. It does take a few seconds for that to get started unless we're having some major difficulties. So let's just give that a second. We could also, it should only take a few seconds for it to get started. So I have the feeling the network might take more than the actual project. Let me just check that it's not broken. Let's look and open this one. This one's working great. Okay, cool. So we at least have one. Let's go to the Builders Weekend and see if that's up yet. No, it's not up yet. Okay, whatever. We'll just reuse this other test one. It's pretty much empty. It just has like this one thing. So for now, not a big deal. Okay, so the Circuit Studio is a Jupyter Lab instance, right? So you can do anything in here that you can do with Jupyter Lab. And when you deploy your agent, it's going to use this data home directory from here. And you can, of course, use terminal. So we're just going to be rocking terminal here. And one of the new features is the Circuits Assistant. Let me full screen this and make it a little bit bigger for everyone. Okay, so the Circuits Assistant is, it's a chatbot that we make built on the platform, if you noticed. And it will help me build stuff, right? So if I need a specific component library, you're going to see me asking the Circuits Assistant for help with that. And if I have some questions about Python or circuits or the platform, I can always ask the Circuits Assistant for help. So this is it's going to be an interesting kind of programming environment as this gets more and more mature. But anyway, let's get started. I'm going to create a thing called a team matcher, not circuits. And I want this to actually be a website, so people can connect to this website, but we will also support having a bot. So we're going to do that the simple way. We have some Flask things here. Let me see if I can find Flask. There it is. So I can right click on one of the various libraries that we have available and click install. And then if everything works correctly, that should pull it and install the dependencies that we need for this thing here. And then in a few seconds, now we have all the component libraries installed, or all the components for the Flask library installed. You can also see an example if we have one, which shows you more or less how to use the component library. So very useful. You can grab this as a starting point, for example, and I think I'm going to do just that. So I'm going to take pretty much everything here. Yeah, let me just take everything here. Let's copy that, and then in Team Matcher, paste that. Okay, let's put that there, like so. And hook it up. So the first step in Flask is you got to create an app with some fields. If anyone has any questions, just let me know. I'll happy to answer them. So if you have web pages or CSS files, JavaScript files, this is where you'll configure them. I think by default it's just going to be /public. So I'm going to go ahead and make that directory /public here. And then in public we'll have JS and CSS and yeah, we'll just have that for now, I think. Not sure if we'll have images, but yeah, maybe we'll have images, so just ing. Not sure if we'll use any, but anyway, so that's that. We might have a scheduler, right? So that will allow us to every few minutes check on stuff. And I think we'll use that here because we want to know the current date. And then based off of what day it is right now, as a, like how much time there is to Builders Weekend, we want to use that information, maybe start matching people, have deadlines, those kind of things I think we'll do. And then finally, there's the start server. So the start server is essentially the last thing that runs. It doesn't really return. So that's what this is here for. We're going to use debug mode as we build it. So that way I can save this and then it automatically updates the service. We're just going to use the default host and port, which should be fine. Okay, let's get rid of these comments, as I will not be needing them. And I think we'll get rid of the stream here. Stream stuff is really good. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to need some get routes, right? Some post, and I'm not sure if we're going to have the put, and let's just get rid of the interval job for now. Very easy to create one as we need. Now these are events. So the interesting thing about this is they're not like part of the main flow from start to finish, but they kind of exist at the start. So we define this get route, and then when we create the app, it will automatically get added to that app as in the beginning. So that should be fine. Okay, so let's see if we can create something very simple here. And again, I'm going to make use of the assistant. That's not what I wanted. I need more space. It's very compact. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's change this to get slash. So when we have a get slash, I want to respond with hello world. I don't know what's up with that error, but we will just do that. Okay, so this is like the most minimal of servers. So we'll start with this, doing things little by little. Okay, so let me go back to the platform and create a service if we have it. There's no, so let's save and compile this. Now if we restart, interesting, and we'll do custom configuration. Let's call it team matcher. We'll do Python team matcher.py. All right, and we also need to, because we're still figuring this part up, I'm going to need a setup directory with a requirements.txt file. And in here, we're going to just copy the XAI components Flask requirements.txt. Let's just cat that and put that into setup requirements.txt. Okay. And yeah, now we should have that in there. And that should be ready to go. Let's go back here. Let's refresh our list. Team matcher, Python team matcher.py, port 8080. And that should work, or at least it was working. A little weird. Oh, all right. I'm in the Builders Weekend services, which we're not. This is not in that test. Yeah, that's why that's not going to work. Okay, let's go here. Let's go to the services, and let's create a service of the team matcher. That makes a lot of sense. That's something I think could be a little confusing for some people. Okay, so that will take a little bit to start. Not too long, just a couple of minutes. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, I'm going to ask the circuits assistant to make me something with HTMX or something like that. Let's see if it knows what HTMX is. Why is this not working? Weird there. Okay, so here we go. Let's copy that to the clipboard and go to public. And I will create a new text file and rename this as index.html. Let's put that in there. Actually, I'm not sure we want it in public. Let's make use of the server-side rendering. So I'll make a templates. Let's cut that from there and put in templates. There we go. So now we have that. You can see that with the editor to edit. That's quite useful. And if we look at our Legos, I think we have a render template. Yeah, so there's a render template here. And so instead of return string response, I think we can render a template instead. Let's go with this, put that there, and let's call this index.html and see if this works like that. That would be very nice if it did. Save and compile that. Let's go back here. See if I can make a custom service here. Team matcher, Python team matcher.py. Port by default should be 8080. Let's create that service. Well, I haven't made a service in a project yet, so it could be that this is not good for projects. If that is good, then, or if that is the reason, then I can totally just download this thing and put it in my other project. Yeah, that's not coming up. So let's go back to my personal project, which already has many services, right? Now let's open up circuits from here and get rid of this slide pad. Okay, let's open up this one. Close that. This one's not so great because it has like a bunch of other stuff. But I know it works. Okay, let's upload our circuit file here. Okay. Now the question is this going to work with my version of Flask in this project? No, I'll just update it. I think so. Let's just double check this. If I open the script here, I think I have the old one. Yeah, but I have an old one. That's not going to be 100% compatible. Let's see how I can fix that. I have my other services. The report generator, I think I can turn that one off. I don't need that one. And then the translator service, if I'm not mistaken, does not use... Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's open up translator circuits. That one doesn't use Flask, so it will not matter. Yeah, this one does not use Flask, so it doesn't matter. Let's go here. Let's go platform. Or no, let's go here and update that Flask library here. So luckily, the Flask library is all open source. I could install it, but I'm not going to right now because I want to splice it together. So we go to XAI Flask. This should be where the Flask components lives. And that's the new one. And I'm going to just paste that in here. And diff them real quick. So we have route, create app, start server, then the define get routes, render template, string response, redirect string response. Get init scheduler and create interval job. Okay, and I think what I'll do, just in case I need these later, I want to comment them out. Is there a quick shortcut for that? Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's do that. Let's refresh and just check in the terminal that I can run this thing. So I'll compile it. Okay. And with that, I now have a, what's it called? The team matcher. So we do Python team matcher.py. I think I need to update utils. Okay, so my personal project is a project where I'm building everything, so it is in quite a crazy state. So don't mind the dust here. Let's go from these utils. Okay, and let's grab this and update my utils. Okay. Pretty sure everything I need will be here. Kind of did some merging with a recent pull request, so it should have everything I need. Double check that. Cool. So we are running that server, so that's good. Okay, now let's go to services and create a team matcher service. That should work. And if it doesn't, we can create a custom one. And if that doesn't work, I think Paul noticed something. All right, okay, so Paul just pushed to fix. So let's give that a couple of minutes. Okay, I need to also grab the HTMX thing that I had here in this studio. Let me just grab that real quick. It's gone, right? It wasn't the Builders Weekend, it was my test project. Now the Builders Weekend studio is up, so that's good. We're running GCP on this, and it's been surprising how slow GCP is sometimes. It's quite annoying, actually. Okay, cool. So let's grab that, and I'm going to put it in here. So templates, new text file. I'm just going to paste that in there. Call this index.html. Cool. And just to make sure that we are getting server-side rendering, I'm going to put hello name here. Do the Jinja template syntax. That should work fine. And there should be an API refresh. So let's get this actually working. Go here. Now let's define a new get route. That should be define get route here. And this will be called /API/refresh. Right. And what I want to do is maybe get the current time and just render that out. Is it so Flask render? Let's return string response. How will that work? That should work, I guess. Okay, so let's save and compile that. And that was /API refresh. So that's cool. So that should work. And let's go back here. Go to services, and let's try this one more time. Actually, let me refresh this platform just in case there's something in the front end that I need to fix. Okay, so that was refreshed. Let's see if that works. It was working a little while ago. Yeah, I think it's not good. Team map. Team Pi. Maybe the update hasn't applied yet, which can be a thing. Regardless, we can test it from here. So if I just do something real quick here, like let's run the Python team matcher.py. Cool. So that is running. Let me open up another. Okay, so I can curl localhost 8080 API refresh. We get our time, so that's good. So that's already working. And if I were to curl this thing, we get the HTML, right? So that's working too. Okay, cool. So let's move on and just work on this index thing. So what I want to do is we need to have a list of people. Oh, and feel free to ask questions. There's like 20 people in here now. I'm just like mellow writing this application for the hackathon. So if you have any questions or you joined late and didn't know what's going on, feel free to ask. I'm happy to explain it. So we need the main thing. Make myself a little memo. Okay, so the main thing we need is a table of users. Then we also need and a table of teams. All right, and so for the user table, we'll have an ID. There will be the email of the person, the name of the person. We'll also have their skills and then interests. These are strings, right? So all these are going to be text. We're going to use SQLite for this, for better or for worse. Maybe have this be int, yeah. Then our teams. Kind of interesting how we're going to do. So the main thing we want to do is ask people for their skills and their interests. And then we want to cluster people together based off of their interests, right? Like what they want to build into a team, and then kind of remove people from that team if their skills are too similar to the other members of the team, and then put them into another team who has similar interests, and then kind of do that iteratively. So we'd like go through a loop, kind of group everybody together by interest, then randomly pick people by their skills, and if their skills are really similar to somebody else, then we take that person out of that, and then put them to the second, like the second match of whoever is whatever team has the best cluster of skills. And in the worst case scenario, there's only one person in that team, and then everybody's in the second team. And I think if we just kind of do that iteratively, we'll get to like a steady state. At least we need to have some sort of condition of when we stop. But a team, do I want to let people make a team? Or do we want it to be completely like random? Or not random, but like clustered. I think I want to make teams. That would be the easier thing to do. So the team will have a name. It'll have an owner or leader. Let's call it leader. I don't know, maybe, yeah, team leader, which is an int. Oh, is it stopped? Or someone else chimed in? Okay, I'll be back. Or I think we're back. Let me know if I'm not back. Let's see if the service creation is back up and running. Let's try that. There we go. Now we're good to go. Okay, let's check out the logs and see if I've messed that up. I might have. Right? I kind of transported things. Oh, that's not good. Why is my log button causing the UI to kind of crash? Interesting. Let me log out here real quick and see if I can do this with a fresh browser. Let's go here. Get rid of these cookies that we don't need. All right, yeah. Would help to do that. Ooh, interesting. That's interesting. We're fighting this bug where we get into like this infinite loop of logins, and it happens only very rarely. And yeah, it's so weird. Okay, so we have a team matcher logs. I think it's not running. Is my no, log button seems to be broken. It's just hover over the log button and breaks things. Okay, close enough. Anyway, we still have a lot more work to do on this app. So we have a leader, which is a foreign key of a user. I think we'll have a goal. Ooh, am I like not on HTTPS? Could be something like that. Like getting these things running on HTTPS kind of takes a weirdly long time on Google Cloud for some weird reason. We ran it on HTTP. It's insecure and also internal server, which is weird. I think this was fine, right? Yeah, it's still fine. We have a goal for the team. We have a goal for the team. Actually, what if there is no leader? Because what we can do is we can have an agent run that creates the teams. and there's no like lead of the team. It's just that these are the teams, and you can leave the team if you're assigned to a team that you're like, not so great, and then move to another team, no problems. Like, this is just the matchmaking kind of thing. So we have this recommendation of teams, but then when people kind of move, there's things like that. So I think maybe instead of having team leads, we just have, there's just teams. And yeah, I think we'll just have teams. Right? So there's some name, some goal. What else have we done in the team? Kind of interesting. But anyway, so let's get some SQL stuff up and running here. So we're going to use SQLite in here because we have that, and I'm pretty sure that will work. So we call this team matcher.db. That will be fine for that. And yeah, we'll also do this kind of thing here. Okay, so let's move that there. And then after we open, let's execute a script with the schema. So we'll have team matcher schema.sql. Okay. And then let's create that file real quick. Okay. Now, going back to this, what we'll want is a, in fact, I don't need to think about this. We have our circuits assistant that will create and write a schema for this kind of database using SQLite 3. Cool. I just highlight that. That sends it over to the agent, and it should know what to do. Yep, and that was close enough. Here's our schema. Let's copy that to the clipboard, paste that there. We put if not exists in these places, and just delete the, have like no versioning, right? Good for me. Okay, so let's save and compile that. We don't have SQLite DB open. Execute script with the DB. The DB comes from the with transaction. I see. Yeah. And have to start a transaction when we do this stuff this way. So let's grab that and start a transaction. There we go. So in the transaction, let's do that. Oops, let's get that connected properly. And then after this transaction, we'll go and create the app. So move this that way. Scheduler, and call it a day. Cool. Let's come back here, double check that it runs. There's a syntax error in our script. think that semicolon is the error. It says near if. What does it say about that? If not exists, I'm sure I can do if not existing. Let's create a table. Create table if not exists. Okay, yeah. I'm an idiot. Okay, create table if not exists users. And teams. Let's do it that way. Okay, and that should run. Okay, we're up and running. Cool. And we have a database, tMetroDB. And can't see it, but good enough. Okay, so let's get all the teams in here, right? So before we render this template for the in here, we're going to search for all the teams. So that will be again with transaction, right? And then in the transaction, we will fetch all. Let's do select star from teams. Don't think we need a semicolon there. No args. And then we will set a dict value. So we'll create a dictionary with that will hold this stuff. Put the value and names called teams. Right, and if I'm not mistaken, that is a dictionary. So let's put the dictionary in there, render the template like so. And just in case we have some missing bug in there, I'm just going to print it done. So this should really be a little bit more robust to not having that in there. I know that probably doesn't work all the time. Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, that should compile. Yep. Thespian, where in the world do I have actor components? Man, my environment is such a mess. It is such a mess. Hold on. Okay, let's get rid of that. I am sure we have that in utils. Oh man, so my environment is such a mess. Okay, set that like so. That's now connected. So let's compile that and run that again. Okay, much better. Now if I curl the home, everything works. Here we have our done. So we have now done something with the database. Let's go here. We also don't have name, right? So if we look here, it says hello, comma, whatever. Let's just double check that everything is working there. I'm going to add another dict set item. Dict set item. Okay, and then this time the key will be name. And let's put this down here. And the value will be Eduardo, because that's me. Okay, let's put that there. I think that's weird to have that dict be what we output, and instead this one. Okay, recompiled, that restarted, and hello, Edward. So yeah, we're doing good there. Now, let's go back here. Let's check, is this running? This is still not running, that's so weird. Team matcher. Logs, let's refresh. Let's give this a restart and look at the logs here. So weird, it shouldn't be taking that long. Let's check out team matcher made in the cloud. 404. This should be a new tab. That is quite weird. Let's check our setup. Requirements. We have Flask cores up and anti-spread. We don't need anything else yet, so that should be fine. Yeah, that's taking way too long. That's kind of weird. Let's get rid of this service real quick and see if I can start it again. See if I can start it manually. Team matcher.py 8080. Let's create that service. The logs. Let's see how that's working. I wonder if our cluster is having some troubles with load. Okay, so not sure about that. It doesn't matter, we can still continue. Let's go to design the rest of this thing. Okay, so let's get rid of this. What we really want to see, templates and HTML. Do things the old-fashioned way. Okay, so let's get rid of this button here. Not a big, not too big on HTMX. I know it exists, but I haven't really used it in Anger, so I'm not sure. Trio says, yeah, something up with the logs, so yeah, that's why that's not running, but it really should be running. Yeah, so it's up and running for real, so that's good. But the logs are kind of weird at the moment. So let's see. We want a couple of things. We want like a do we want a registration page? The thing about having a registration page is, yeah, that would be nice. but because I kind of want this to work with the bot, kind of don't want to have the whole like put your password here, log in, give us your email. You know, like ideally it would be simpler than that. Let's do. We do need some kind of way to register. Yeah, we need like an API to register essentially, right? We need some way to have the email, and we don't want people messing around too much. It's not a super critical service or anything like that, but we probably want some, some basics in here. That's the simplest thing I can implement, because I don't want to spend like a ton of time implementing all the things. We can have like a login token. Which means that to log in, we send you an email, and you need to put in the token. You get an email to log in, and then that's like just the only way to log in to the system. I think that could work, but we don't have a email component, so I think I will make one. So one of the cool things about the Circuits Assistant is that it knows how to make components. So can you make me some kind of component that sends the user an email? Yeah, so you can send it a request like that, and then it will build some component for you. I do think I did have a Gmail one, so we could also possibly use that. I don't think we can use SMTP lib. Can we use SMTP lib from the system, or will it get blocked? I think it will get blocked. Can you make it with, what do we got? We got MailChimp. That's still a thing, right? What else can you send mail with? SendGrid. Do we have SendGrid? Wait, hold on. SendGrid. We do not have SendGrid, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we don't have that. We do have Twilio though, so I think we could possibly use that. Let's go. Can make it with SendGrid instead. Do that. Let me see if I can log in here. Is it a Twilio account, or is there like a separate Twilio SendGrid account because they have like some sort of half-assed merger? Twilio. Okay, let's get that over there. Team Measure. Okay, we do have reports. The logs are up and running again. Okay, they are. That's great. Now we can refresh. We can see things. This will be good. Okay, and cool. Now we have the send grid. I'm going to create a send grid component library. Let's create a new library here. I have too many things. Okay, other, we'll call it send grid. Does this need the XAI prefix or not? I guess we'll find out. Okay, now we have the send grid, right? How magical is that? You know, like, that's so cool. I can't wait to be able to just drag this in from the right-hand side. Okay, so now we can send emails to send grid. In theory, right? We might need to fix that up a little bit. We'll get to that. You know, it's easy to do this. I would rather this API keep be a secret, so let's do that. Email, receiver email, subject and message. Perfectly fine. I like the way that looks. Let's reload that node. Okay, so cool. Let's go back to the index and let's make some templates. Okay. And HTMX login. And yeah, login template. Just have the AI working with the AI here, so I don't have to write a bunch of stuff. And depending on what it says, it determines on how much I'm going to actually do the thing. Good enough. Okay, so let's create a new file called login.html. Let's edit that. Cool. Now, instead of the login, let's go here. So post login, that's fine. Let's call this email instead. So for email, username is email required. And then the password will be in a separate thing. We have a login indicator logging in. Another HTML. I know, is the email thing too much? I'm making my life more complicated than it needs to be. Maybe. Hold on, let's keep the email thing. This is the email, password. Okay, let's make instead make a component that encrypts a password with password-based key derivation function 2. It checks it. Okay, we don't have like password components, right? So I'm just going to make one. I have a login HTML. I'm going to duplicate that, paste that in there. Okay, so let's duplicate. Okay, now I already have two. Let's delete one of those. That was a little weird. Okay, let's rename this one to be register.html. Then the register HTML has just 2 passwords. Confirm password. Call this one confirm. Right, this is not password. Okay. We have our email, password, confirm, suggestion. This will be /register. HX target. I think we don't want this to be HTMX. Although, how do I just do like simple redirects to a different page? I think we'll just use regular HTML. We don't have to be fancy, right? So we have our target. So yeah, then we don't need this logging indicator. That we just have this simple form. Register. And this indicator here. Button submit. How's our SendGrid thing working? Username password is invalid. Yep, I think I don't have a SendGrid. I must have just a regular Twilio account. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, action. And the method is post. There we go. Okay, so we have this login registration form. Very ugly, perfectly fine. Let's go back to the login. I want to make the login also very similar. Okay, so let's do action is that, method is post. Let's make it simple, password, button type submit, login. Don't need that fancy stuff. Okay, that looks like it should work. Looks like it should work. Okay, now let's go back here. And we have these new components, encrypt password and check password. I'm going to create a component library again. This one I'm just going to call team matcher. This will be the component library that I have, like the component library specific stuff, right? Encrypt password, and then we want this one. So let's add that to team matcher. Okay, check password. Cool. That will be so useful. Okay, let's get rid of the assistant. Go here. Okay, let's give ourselves a little space there. And a lot more space there. Okay, if I remember correctly, Flask should have some session stuff, and we're just going to use that. We also have this session exists, right? Okay, so let's give ourselves some room. So very simple. So if a user exists in the session, we're going to do a couple things. So let's go here and branch. So if they do exist, then we're going to do everything here. When you just missed that one string. Okay. So if the user exists, then we're going to do that with the user. And when it's not the user, we want to redirect to /login. Yeah, cool. That also means that our login form should have a just to account register new account, or yeah, so put register a new account. Okay, and then that will be an a tag, which is href to register. Yeah, now that I want the preview just to see what it's like. It's your new account. Maybe a little bit big, maybe a little big. Doesn't have to be H2. Now let's just make another P tag here. How does that look? Yeah, good enough, good enough. We can hire a designer later. Okay, the register new account takes us to register. Right, email, password, confirm password. So let's make the register and login routes now. Yeah, so let's go here. Let's make the simple get. We need two get routes, one for get login and one for get register. Let's do that real quick here. Okay, /login. And then another one / register. And these ones are going to simply just return the template, right? So they're just very simple stuff. Render template. Template name is going to be login.html. No args, just simple stuff. And similarly, this one will also render template. I can get that to not do that thing. Let's call this register.html. Cool. Now if I save and compile this, go here, we refresh. And if I'm not mistaken, we should be a failed to watch directory. Man, I hate this. This bug pisses me off. Well, it's not necessarily, it's not technically a bug, but it is hard to get to the bottom of why that happens. Yeah, I hate that. Okay, let's get rid of that. Those terminals, let's go back here. Okay, cool. So now we're in the login, register new account. We go to that. Oh, it still says login. Let's fix that real quick. Login HTML. Login to team. Matcher to builders weekend team matcher. Cool. And then in register.html, Should be login, it should be register for photos we can team manager, and then it goes register. I think that works. Cool. That looks about right. Okay, good enough. It says register now. And now we're cooking with gas. Okay, so let's now create a post route /login. Okay, so when we're post/login, don't need any of that. We don't have a request JSON. We want to get form value. Okay, let's get rid of that. It'll be easier for us to deal with register first, so let's do that. Register, and then we will get form value and get the email out of that page. And we also need to get form value. We'll get the password from that page, and then we also want to get the form value for the confirmation. Did I call it confirm? I need like yeah, call it confirm. But the name is password. There we go. And people say LLMs hallucinate. Okay, so now we have the 3 forms. We want to have simple logic. So first we check if they're the same, right? So we'll take password and the confirm, and then our expression will be args one.value equals 2.value. Oops, it's going to be args1, it should be args0. I'm not sure if that dot value is required or not. We'll find out. I can't remember. Okay, now if that is the case, then we'll have a branch component again, where if those are the same, then we will, with an SQLite transaction, does this open the database? Get DB open. Yeah, well, we connect every time we get the DB. Yeah, so that's perfectly fine. When it's false, we're just going to do the lazy thing. We're going to do the redirect back into register. So no error messages or anything like that. We'll deal with that. That's a problem for the future Eduardo, not the current Eduardo. Trio's back and saying, what did you miss? So we have the login and register things, right? So now we have this register page, and I'm just going to make this actually work. So first we check that the confirmation and the password are the same. Then if they are the same, then we use this newfangled encrypt password component. So let's do that inside of the transaction. We will take the password from here, put that there, like so. Let's give ourselves some space. And I definitely need a faster computer. Okay, our salt should be something random. Let's put some random salt in there. Okay. And we'll have a hashed password. That seems like it hard codes a lot of stuff. Good enough. Yeah, whatever, good enough for me. Okay, so we have our hashed password. Then we will go back to SQLite. Let's execute and insert. So this should be insert into users. We'll have email. We don't have a name. That's fine for now. So email. Actually, we don't have a lot of stuff. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that schema. Okay. Email, name, skills, interests, login, token. Let's put our password in here. Email from who? What? Yeah, nothing important. Okay. Integer. Okay, you got our email. We have a password. These are all. Let's make this a non-null. Okay, is it non-null by default or non-null? Not null. I always forget if yeah, null by default things are null. Yeah. Okay, so text not null, unique. Okay, then our name, which can be null, skills null. Password should be not null. Okay, and I think that's good. It's good enough. Right? Like there's problems with that HMAC, but good enough for that. Let's go back to here. So we'll insert into users. We'll have email, password, values, and I think we want 2 question marks, if I remember correctly. I should remember correctly, as I'm the one who created this thing. And the args are not a dyno list. And I think they should be. So I'm going to change component here. Will that work? We will see. Should work. That would be great if it did. Okay, now args is a dyno list. So we can take our email from here. So let's put that in there. And then the password from here. Or no, we don't want that password. We do not want that password. We want the hashed password from here. Okay, so let's execute this kind of SQLite in the transaction. Then when we're done with that, we will redirect to login. It'd be great if we could set like a flash thing. I'm not sure if I had that kind of, I mean, it's just setting a session flash, right? Let's go to login. Okay. And I think that's pretty much it. And I really feel like this, okay, let me just double check if this will handle the next thing. Yeah, I fixed this. Well, not fixed this. This needs to be fixed, and it is fixed in the latest version. But this will work just fine. Okay, so let's save and compile that. Now let's go back here. Go back home, and we might have to restart manually because it can't monitor what's going on. Not a fan of Google Cloud. Not a fan of Google Clouds. Bull crap. Yeah, that's not having a fun time right now. Let me get rid of the report generator because we don't need it. And let's restart this team matcher. Stop that. Look at the logs. Syntax error. SQLite components. The SQLite schema has an error. That come. Okay. Let's restart that again. Wait, how do I try a server without starting a service? Oh yeah, with curl that's fine. I know that. I wanted to work with the browser. Yeah, I was using curl before to test out the service and stuff like that, so that's fine. Okay, cool. So that is up and running. Now this should work if I go here, matcher, login, register new account. I can say Eganzal's Xpress AI and have some sort of password. Register, string object has no attribute value. That was what I was afraid of. It's kind of afraid of that. But we can be smart about that. String object has no value. It was in the branch. Let's go here. Oh, and that's a tautology right there. Let's put args equals that. I think this is the correct thing. This is what I would like it to be, so makes sense if that's how it works. Let's recompile that. That should have possibly got that working. Let's go back here, did not restart. Saved, compiled, successfully compiled. Let's look at that. Yeah, I think we might be out of like watch handles for some reason. Let's have enough restart. Hey Flip Fuzz, how are you doing? First time actually getting a comment from Twitter, so congratulations on that. I've always gotten like comments and shout outs from the Twitch chat. Almost also never on YouTube. So anyway, and like I mentioned before, everyone should feel free to ask questions. If you're wondering what we're up to, just let me know. Happy to explain it again. Okay, so let's go back here, refresh. Let's go make something. Register. Don't have a column named password, and that's true. For those who might have noticed, we have if not exists in our schema, and because this thing exists, then that's not going to update the schema. Okay, so let's do that again. No such table users. Now, why is that? Because I deleted the entire database. So let's restart that so we can get that running. Yeah. This Flip Buzz message, didn't know you can stream on X until a few minutes ago. Yeah, it's Elon is trying to make X into something else. So yeah, I mean, I guess the streaming, you could upload videos from a little while ago, I guess. It's definitely not a new thing, but yeah, not many people go to Twitter to see streaming, so I can totally see why. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, wow, you can stream on Twitch. Or not stream, just stream on X. There we go. Binding parameter of type inarg is not supported. Yeah, that's what I was kind of afraid of. Okay, so that makes sense. And that's what I was kind of talking about. So this was a list, and I'm lazy and I don't want to do stuff. So I want to use this dyna list here. So I need to make sure that I implement this correctly. Now the error was that means that the arg's value is an inarg, which makes sense. What's the easiest way to fix that? So we can have args is equal to arg.value or arg in self.args.value. If as adder, can you put the else there? This is the first time I mean, it must not be the first time I have done this. Yeah, arg.value if it has a value, else we want arg, and then will tuple the args. And that would be how you would do that with a dyno list instead of a regular list. And if that worked, that would be great. So let's save this. So they shouldn't, they're not necessary. Okay, so dyno list should be implemented in a way where I shouldn't have to care about this. And it isn't. We go to dyno list. We have this getter, right? And it's supposed to return in arg or out arg. I mean, it will return the value if I get it. But because I'm trying to list it, this doesn't happen. And I'm not 100% sure how to make that happen. It doesn't matter that much, I think. So we'll just restart this. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, can we override like all? Could be something simple like that, I think. Yeah, else that's I was looking at that and going, that does not look right. It does not look right. This, I don't like this. They should all just be the value, right? Whether or not they're an in arg or not, right? And if I were, so I think if I do this, right, for I in range len self.args.value, then I do args.append self.args.value I think this will work. And I would like it so that we don't have to do it this way. We could just use the list as is, right? That'd be better. I think should be restarted by now. Let's open up the new logs. It'll be interesting when we have new programming languages where when there's an error and the fix is obvious, it will just fix it for you. And then it'll be more interesting when that fix causes a ridiculous bug of enormous proportions. Okay, so let's now do that. In arg is not supported. Did that not do what I was expecting? It might not have done what I was expecting, which is weird. Oh, this is just getter. We never use this, do we? Yeah. Okay. Where's the SQLite components? There we go. Okay. Do that. We'll have args is equal to self.args.value list.getter self.args.value. Yeah, pretty sure that's how that works. Yeah, it should be unpacking it, right? Like, am I running? And I mean, of course, like my project space is a mess of all the stuff that, you know. So it could be that I'm just have a very unique Snowflake thing where things are broken. Let's look at base component then. Let's look at base component. Yeah, it is an old one. Okay. Let's grab the latest and greatest one then and splice it in there. Okay, let's update this because I kind of vaguely remembered working on that and getting it working. So, okay, so we have this thing. That's good. And then for Dynalist, we have this getter. And then base component. Wait, where does it do that? Ah, I see. Did I write that? I don't remember writing it. Let's copy that. So let me update thing here. Tuple, execute graph, subgraph executor. Wait a sec. Did I do something? Oh, right. I had this. Do I use it anywhere? I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't think I use that anywhere. And it is no longer necessary, so that's fine. Okay, so let's do it this way. Then this should be like that, just like normal. Okay, cool. So now I have a Dynalist thing here. Usually I think most normal users wouldn't be dealing with this kind of level of stuff. It's just that I'm changing this thing. We're building the plane and flying it at the same time. Okay, let's close these logs. Let's restart. Yeah, and we are totally out of file descriptors for some reason, so have to restart manually every time. Okay, cool. Now that's running, let's open up the team matcher, register new account, simple password, register, and now we're in. Okay, cool. So that worked. And we can continue with the login side of things. So I'll do another post route. Define post where we do /login, and now we'll implement the login. So I can make it prettier with Daisy UI without a build step. Interesting. I'll have to look at that later. Okay, so for the login, we're going to have two get form values for the username, and then again for the password. This is called email. This is called password. Okay. And then let's use the check password thing here. Check password. We also need the hash. Forgot about that. So let's go to SQLite and we'll fetch 1. And we can do that inside of a transaction. Let's start moving these things around. Okay. Now, let's print. Just print something here, like fetch user or something. Okay. So we will do a query for user by email. Like star from users, email equals question mark. Okay, put that there. And then need to check the password of that hash. It should be a dictionary, so I'll then need to get that. Get item. There we go. We get the password out of the database. And that's the stored hash. Let's move this out of the way. This password goes here. And the salt is also this literal string. Should probably be saved in the thing. So maybe add that later. It's stupid to have a global salt, right? It's like slightly better than useless, but only so very slightly that it's almost useless. Okay. Then let's do a branch component to look. Let's see if the password matched. If it did, then we will redirect to, or we'll set the user information into the session. So this will be the string user. And then after we set the user, we'll redirect to slash. Where the bulk of the application will be. Okay, now the value, I'm just going to put the result dictionary of the user in there. Okay, and then if we did not match the password, we will also just redirect to log in. Okay, cool. So let's now tidy these things up a little bit. Put that there. Put that there. So, okay, so I think that should handle the login. So let's save and compile it. And in the ideal world, that would restart. And I don't think it will. So we'll have to restart it ourselves. But it's not a big deal. Just click a button. Okay, now if we refresh, or we give it a second to start, this is like one weird thing about like the Google Kubernetes. It's like slower than doing things on your own Kubernetes cluster. I know it's doing something way more, right? So there's very little we can do about that. Okay, so now if I log in, should go. There's one, there are 19 supplied. What? 19. 19? There are 19 supplied. Where did that? That's weird. $19. I'm doing that just here. Yeah, I'm thinking that must mean that the length of my email is 19. Let's turn that into a tuple. And that Makes sense. Okay, let's go into that. I'm not sure if there's anything other than if len. Is dynalist okay? Well, I'll see you later, Drew. Is dynalist returning the object instead of the other, like a list, if there's only one thing in it? If that's the case, that's it's not ideal. But that is what must be happening, essentially. So if arg's value is none, else if self.args.value how do we do this in a way that doesn't make things suck? Because it could be a list, right? So if it's a list, if there's one thing that is just a list, that is fine. In this case, right, it'd be like if is instance self.args the value stir, then we just tuple self.args.value like that. I think that's how that works, but that's like that's not ideal, because then if that's an int, then we need to have a case for int. And what I want to say, if len of that is equal to 1, then we can do it that way. Let's check that Python real quick. Okay, so I have an array with a single string in it. Len a is going to be 1. If I tuple a, I get what I expected. But if I tuple a0, that's not what I expected. Why does it do that when there's only one thing? It's got to be some weird bug in here. Well, maybe not a bug per se. Dynalist. We want a dynalist with one thing to just be one one thing. It's not being set as one thing, which is weird. I think we can check if it is an instance of list. Okay, so if it is a list, then we're going to do that. And if it is anything else, we're just going to treat it as a single thing. And that should make sense. Let's go back here. Did that restart? Oh, it did restart, so we can do this again. Again. I guess it did not restart, so let's restart it manually. Go to the logs, it's up and running. Give it a second to start up. Okay, and 1 and 19 supplied. Line 72. So it wasn't here that is the problem. It is here that is the problem. Let's execute, and I think we just need the same thing here. Okay, we'll build that. We'll do this here. Then else we do this. We say that the self.result.value will db execute that dot fetch 1. Okay, and we of course have the same kind of issue here. Oh no. Yes, that makes sense because we're not using dynalist in there. If you noticed, fetch 1 says it's an arg with an array. I was giving it a dynalist, or I was treating it as a dynalist. I was just confused. Okay, let's not make our lives complicated. Let's go back to where it was before. Okay, so this was a dynalist. I want this also to be a dynalist and this also to be a dynalist. Then we don't have to care about any of that. Let's refresh here and reload the node. Now we have a dynalist of args, where if I supply my email into that, give it a second to catch up. Okay, now that should make sense. And that's so much easier to use than having a list, and it won't cause the same problems. So let's compile that. Go back here. Line 74. Double check line 74 of this thing. Fetch one does fetch one. Execute does execute, and fetch all does fetch all. Okay, so let's save that. Go back to the logs, restart, and give it a few seconds to start. Okay, so while that's running, we have the login flow done. And now we have to build the rest of the owl, as they say. So let's go back into here and edit our index.html. Let's make sure that, let's just make sure that it's running. Login, Xpress AI, put in the simple password. Object of type row is not JSON serializable. Where am I trying to serialize that thing? I see. Okay, we are trying to serialize that thing when I'm setting the session. The row cannot be JSONed. They're a to dict. It handles like a dictionary, so I kind of expected it to be a little more. Return list of dictionaries in SQLite query. That's kind of what I want. Execute. Set the row factory to a row. Can treat it as a dictionary by using keys. Okay, so I do think this is probably something that we want to do in the component library, because this is an out arg dict, but we are not actually returning an out arg dict. We are returning something else. So let's do it correctly to spec, as I say. So value is that. Then self-result.value. Don't need that list accumulator. Put self.result.value. Is equal to k item this is value k, so k in value dot keys. Same thing here. Fetch all similar, but we want to have this list accumulator kind of deal. So we'll go back here. Okay. Just set these both to values with an S, I think. Then we'll have a res or ret list, and then for item in values, we will want to do exactly what this is doing, which is something append and the same as before. So I'll do ret.append, and then we'll have k colon item k for k in item dot keys. Self.result.value is equal to ret. So do you think that is correct? Cool. Let's restart this and see if that worked. Okay. I think these things deserve a little bit more space between each other. Yeah, it's kind of big. It's a kind of biggish workflow. It's not as big. I've worked with bigger, right? But yeah. And we need to optimize some things here to work with larger workflows easily, because it's kind of slow. Yeah, it takes a good few seconds to respond every time I move now. And that shouldn't happen for something this small. Okay, let's move that there to show that these things are kind of related. It could kind of work as a sub-circuits. There's some problems with sub-circuits and in general. I gotta make it not worth it. Okay, so now we have the post route. Let's go back here to the get for slash. Select star from teams. We'll set that as teams. The name as Eduardo. We probably want to get the name from the user now that we have the user. So let's change this to, first let's just double check that it's running. My name and my password. Log in, and it's working. Okay, so we now have logging in and all that stuff. And if I wasn't playing around with how things works, we wouldn't have had to write any code to do that. Yeah. So it's a good question about, like, should I use more subcircuits? And the issue is that when we create this route, I don't think you can do this in a subcircuit. I could be wrong. Actually, I might be wrong, but I'm not sure. I'd have to actually test that. That said, I would kind of like it to be all in one for this case, because yeah, moving between different circuits could be quite annoying, and these routes are kind of related to each other. But yeah, like in theory, I could define these in their own thing, and then that would work. But then they would have this start and end. That I guess if I had a start and end, I just connect it directly and then add a get route, put that into a component library, and then drag it in. I think that could work. Yeah, it could work. Just a little too much trouble. Okay, let's go back here. So let's change this to user, because we want to have this information from the user. Let's get rid of this string here and move these 4 things out here, like so. We refresh this Circuit Studio. I think there is kind of like a leak in terms of the performance. Okay, let's get rid of the animation. Then let me SQLite fetch 1 this time. And the query is select star from users where email equals question mark. Okay, we have our users session. So we can access that here. And when that happens to, okay, then we'll do session get. Get the user session and get a dictionary out. So let's dict get item to extract the email key. Okay, then now that we have the email, we can run that. And let's move this down the line like so. We can add the user to the user key. Then we render the index HTML. And if we go to this to test it, I say hello user.name, and user email. Not sure if dot will work or not. We will find out. So I'll change this from hello HTMX to builders weekend team matcher. Okay, so this is the team matcher. Let's restart team matcher service. What time is it now? It's 1. Okay, now if we go here, it's not up yet, so we just gotta wait. But now it's kind of made me curious about if we can use start nodes. User is not defined. I called it user in there. Is the error that user is not defined or something else? Let's do it this way. Okay, so that was updated. But user is not defined, which is weird because in here, defining user, do you have a user, or at least I think I have a user. Let's print that out. Okay, what are we passing to the template? Start that. The logs. It is so magical when the restarting is automatic. But there are issues when there are lots of people running servers. Yeah, hello, none. Gonzalez Xpress. Okay. What did I do? Not 100% sure. Pretty sure I didn't do anything. Must have been, I was running an old version of the server, and so it was having name and stuff like that. Now that it's properly restarted, everything's working. So now we are logged in. We don't have a name and stuff like that. So I think what we'll do is make it into like a form. Right? So it'll be like, hello, username. Did Ginger have a if none. I think there was some kind of simple pattern for this. Or I see, we just use simple stuff. Username, if, or, okay, do it that way. It says hello anonymous, right? Now, ooh, that is a good idea. It would be nice if the assistant knew the logs of your services, and that's true. And I think we could probably implement a tool to do that, though the problem is mainly authentication. But it could be that if I ask a question, it's like, hey, what's wrong with this service? And the agent had access to a tool that would access the logs, it could then see what's going on. That would be quite useful. If it could see everything, right? Like, yeah, it has to access also the code and stuff like that. We could maybe do something like that. I think we have to re-architect how the assistant works to do that correctly. But that's true. It would be a nice idea. Like, it would be really nice if this assistant knew that kind of stuff as well. Okay. So essentially what I want, let's look at that Daisy UI stuff. CDN. Daisy UI from CDN. Okay, but then how do I... Yeah, I don't know enough Tailwind to do this right, I think. Yeah, I will do this later. Not that important. Would be nice though. I totally kind of get it. Looks ugly. Looks absolutely horrendous. But anyway, we can have, let's go to this login form. We'll take this out of here. Go to the index.html. Okay, so let's put our user form post to slash, or no, let's post to user. That's the more correct way of doing it, right? So we have some user ID slash update. We're going to post to that. Cannot change the email, so let's put for name colon text ID name required. And the value is the user name. think it's the empty string if it's none, so we don't need to worry about that. Password, that'll be a separate thing. So let's look at the schema again, because I've already forgotten. Skills and interests. So we're going to add that in here. Skills, right? And I want this to be a kind of text area. The ID would just be the name. We're going to call it skills. Required. These things aren't required. Okay, so name skills. And then it will have your user's skills if you have them. And interests. Okay, that looks like that. Looks terrible, absolutely terrible. That's fine. And our submit will be update profile. Cool, so now we have your profile. Then let's also have a H2 teams, H2 profile. Let's make an unordered list. Teams and for li team. And this will be team name, as teams had a name, if I remember correctly. Yep, and then they also had a goal, if I remember correctly. And I have the memory of a goldfish, so I cannot remember those details, even though it was just like 2 hours and a half, barely even 2.5 hours ago. Okay. So we have our name. And then just put the goal in here. Okay, since we have no teams, that will happen like so. Let's add a simple I think I kind of want to have a link. So href is teams. Teams create a new team. And that, so we currently have no teams. And then was there an easy way to do that? Do not remember if that worked. That did work. Okay, cool. Well, so you have our teams and you have your profile. And then we can update that. So we will do that. Our teams create user ID update. That's good. So, okay, so the idea here is I'll be able to put my own skills and my own interests in there. And we'll have the teams. I think maybe we could also have some kind of like match. But match to be done. No, maybe it's more like XX%, right? I kind of like that idea. Then in the templates, kind of wondering if that's like really what we want. If anyone has ideas on the teams, let me know. Like, do you think we need to make someone have to build the team? As there are definitely people who do that. Or do we just want to match people solely based off of their interests? It's a good question. I can see the arguments for either or, right? Like if you're making a team, if you have your own idea in mind, then you would make a team and you're trying to recruit people to the team. So you have, the goal is the first step, but you could kind of add in your idea. And I think that's what happens most of the time in these hackathons. There's few people who have ideas. They say what their idea is. They try to recruit people to it. And then we can sort that list of teams. Maybe instead of teams, we could call it ideas and then kind of match people with the ideas. And then that way, I like that. I like that better. We have ideas, right? And then we're match people with the ideas. And if they want, then they can create a team from that, right? Our main goal here is just to it's to break the ice, really, right? So let's do that. Okay, so let's call this ideas. Let's do ideas for idea in ideas. Idea doesn't have a name, it has a title. And a goal. Maybe more like a description. Is a goal or a description better? Ideas, create a new idea. Match interested people. I think that works great. We have our title, a description of the idea. No ideas yet. Create one to get started. Currently don't have ideas in the canvas, so this will break. But go here. And now we do a set a new item to the dictionary. That one there. Why is this one a different color than that one? Worries me a little bit. But this one is a different color, so I guess it's fine. Okay, let's put ideas. And this, we unfortunately can't make an empty list, can we? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Can I make a literal list? Cannot be empty. Yeah, we need to make empty things be possible. Did I have a make list thing? I think I did. Yeah, we just have to like shove that in there. Okay, so we will just make a list. I think as it is empty, this should work. Could be wrong. Kind of reminds me of the Stimpy thing. You just don't know. Maybe something good. Maybe something bad. Just gotta push the button. Okay. Only people who are complete geezers would know what I'm talking about. Just like Ren and Stimpy. Push the button, push the button. Maybe something good. Yeah, the history eraser button. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, we'll leave that empty, but this is a great thing. There's two. This is the button. What is the button? Don't touch it, you fool. It is the history eraser button. And he's like, what will happen if I press it? And he's like, that's the thing. We don't know. Maybe something good. Maybe something bad. You just never know. And you're going to guard it. Okay, it's great. I like that. Okay, cool. So we are restarted, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, dinosaur emoji. That's exactly what it is. It's like an old dinosaur. We have none in here. I thought we weren't going to have nuns in there. I don't want nuns. So we'll have media title, user skills, or the empty string. Let's put it in single quotes. User interests or the empty string, and update profile. Okay, then we have our ideas. Okay, cool. Now let's nuke that database. We don't need to nuke the database, just need to change the schema and restart the server. Let's go to schema. Okay, so we have ideas. Idea also has an integer primary key. I think we also want this to be auto increment, right? Did SQLite 3 have auto increment? You don't need auto increment. You just make it ID integer primary key. And if you add auto increment, it's essentially the same. Integer primary key is an alias for the row ID. Unless you have it set up. Yeah, that's the way that works. So just say integer primary key, ID integer primary key. Okay, so ideas. Our ideas have a title and they have a description. I think that's it. We could do other stuff, as in we could make it so that an idea is owned by a person. I think we kind of do need that. We don't want, like if I made an idea, I don't want somebody to be able to just edit my idea. It's mine, right? It might be very similar to another person's idea, and that's fine. You can have two ideas that are very, very similar. And maybe our system can like go, these ideas are very similar, right? So we can just show the similar ideas. But the ideas do have an integer owner. And the shift key. It's like I usually use this weird keyboard. And the shift key is nice and soft. When I'm doing the live stream and I want to use, my screen as a second screen, I have to use my Mac's keyboard, and the shift key is like a lot harder. I think we want a unique title, just so that you don't have like people having the same title. You get confused if people have the exact same title. So title unique, we do have an owner. I think a team doesn't necessarily have to be around a specific idea, I think, because it could be that you have an idea. It's like, ooh, we want to do sustainable something, or we want to make an AI thing for X. And then when you create the team, your team is maybe based on the people whose interests line up with the ideas, but as you have formed this team, it could be that the idea has significantly changed, right? That's perfectly fine. So I think we can keep it this way, where there's teams, the team has some goal, right? That's what they're going to try to accomplish. And there's a name for the team. And there's team members, but we don't really care about the ideas per se, right? So let's create table, if not exists, team members. So we have our primary key, team ID, integer, user ID, integer, not null. Did I have a default created at? I don't want to create it at. Yeah, I think that looked about right. So I'm just going to add that to every table because it's useful for sorting and things like that to have created at and updated at. Not no defaults. What else? If I remember correctly, I don't think we have to worry about foreign key. Because I think it supports the keyword. That's great. But I don't think it enforces it. Yeah, you have to do this pragma foreign keys on for it to work. And it may not be compiled in there. So not super important. But I do want to create a unique constraint. On a join table. Unique constraint. Yeah, like that. Okay, so our team members, unique team ID, user ID. That way you can't be like in the team member's choice. You can only be in a team member thing once. And I'm pretty sure the foreign key stuff will not be necessary for the current scale. There's only like a few hundred people are ever going to use this thing, right? So it's not that important. That we have a lot of data guards in place and stuff like that. And if this balloons, then maybe we do that. But okay, so team members ideas. Let's go back to the index.html. Speak ourselves some space by removing that. So we have ideas create, user ID update. And then let's also add the teams. I probably shouldn't have erased the team stuff. Let's put teams, and then for team in teams, we'll have team name, goal. And there's no teams yet. Then we'll have / teams create. And start building. Okay, and then this is goal, idea, title, match. Yeah, so this is your personal thing, right? So you'll have your match, something %, idea title. We'll just have the idea title. And what I want to do is make this be a link. Okay, and this will be for /ideas /idea ID. Yeah, then you can get more information about that idea, and then from there you'll see who are the people whose interests line up most with that idea. And their skills. And I think the whole where skills comes in to play is when you're creating a team. So when you create a team, I think when the team is manual. The idea part is where it's fuzzy and matching. So we will take people's interest, people with the highest interest, and highest similarity in terms of, yeah, I think every idea, because it's going to be a team, we're going to have like designer, developer, manager, and things like that. And then just take the top manager with the right interest, the top programmer with the interest, or top front end or back end designer of that. Yeah, we do it that way. The alternative is that we don't kind of make assumptions about what a team should have. And instead just go, who's the biggest match? Put that person in there. Then take the next biggest match and check the skills. And if the skills are too similar, then that person gets recommended to a different idea. So like some kind of like partitioning scheme in that sense. Yeah, because it's just a recommendation anyway. So that will be that. And then we'll do this created stuff. Okay, so now I don't want to try something. Let's see how that works. So I've never done this before, but it should work in theory. So we have the team matcher thing here. I'm going to create a new circuits file. I'm going to put the start to the finish. That's it. But then in Flask, I'm going to define a get route, or let's call it idea/idea create. And that will just render the template on idea_create. We just want to have one and do all of create. Yeah, that's a simple one. Okay, so now in here we have an untitled circuit, so I'm going to rename that to idea create. No, we want define idea create circuit. Okay, so now I have a, so when you compile it, you'll notice you have a, maybe it doesn't work. Interesting. I have a print, simple print. Defined idea create. Okay, save and compile that. Now we have something. And if you notice, it's a component, right? Define idea create. I put it inside our team matcher component library. So in team matcher, we have a define idea create. And if put that here, like so. Define idea create happens here. Okay, and then we'll have a template that was idea_create.html, the new text file, save as idea_create.html. The login form. Create.html. Let's edit this, put that in there. Let's be like create a new idea. And just put it works. Then just in case, idea create. Let's do something like that. Okay, let's restart the team matcher. I do think if that works, that's kind of interesting. I can't say I'm 100% sure about it, right? Like it's the previous version, you had to define the routes in line, right? So you'd have like a stream of things that you're defining. So what this really feels like that. But of course it is, you do have to run it, right? So you have to put it in that stream. So I think ideally, if we're going to do it where we split routes and different things, we would want to have a different component that allows you to do that. Yeah, ideas create. Called it idea create, I think. Okay, that was not found. So components, team matcher. Oh, there's now team matcher and team matcher underscore. That's interesting. But it is there. So in the uppercase one, we have the check password. And then in the underscore, did I click the wrong one? There we go. / idea create. Okay, so that did not run. Yeah, so we can't do that. But I think that's like, that is something we can implement. So like getting this working like that is something we can probably just implement. Yeah. So let's just get rid of it for now because it doesn't work. But we can probably make it work later on. I don't think it's too hard. We just need to like look at the start nodes after every do and run it. So if there are more start nodes defined after doing a component, then we run those initializers, and then that should run them in the right context. So yeah, it's that's interesting. We'll look into that. Okay, so we got idea create. Let's go back here. Okay, this was ideas create, this is teams create, and this is user update. So yeah, I think we'll do it with S's. ideas. That's great. Goal, teams, team, whatever. Same thing goes through here. Let me make that into an A tag. Team ID. Maybe let's not put the goal there, as the goal might be very long. Then in here, let's define the routes for that. And let's define a get route. Did we have one that had post? No, we don't. Define get and define post. Okay, save this and restart it again. It works fine. It's just like it gets a little slow. There's some sort of memory leak. And I can kind of feel it when things are getting a little bit slow. Okay, then we do ideas, create, which should render the ideas underscore create HTML. We probably also want this to be like this. Let me see if I can copy that. I'm thinking maybe we want a middleware, like a Flask-defined middleware thing for setting some sort of variable or something like that. Okay, so Flask session exists. User, so if we do have a user, then we will render the template. Or else we will redirect to the login screen. And this is a perfect middleware example where pretty much all the pages I will ideally want them to have a login. And then if I post to /ideas create, the schema says that our idea has an owner, title, and description. So again, we will copy these things. Paste them here and hook them up. AirPods have not great battery life. Put that in there. Like either the AirPods have not great battery life or it's a sign that I've been streaming for long enough. Now I will finish this probably tomorrow, so we're not going to get everything done today. But I kind of wanted to show what it's like to like build these things from scratch. Because it's it's pretty okay, I think. So when this exists, and if we don't exist, we go to that. Actually, in this case, we're posting, right? So we're always going to redirect. And I'll leave that. I'll leave that there. So anyway, we have our use create post, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think I'll end the stream in about like 5 minutes or so. It's been 3 hours, and yeah, we've kind of gone through all the things. A lot of the issues that I was facing in the early part of the stream about services not working, that has been fixed. So now if I go to here and I go to like my circuits and I open up the studio, this thing is running. Right, I can make a circuits file. I can give it, yeah, I can install the Flask repository here. Install the Flask repository. We have finished. Now we have Flask, and I can create app and start server. Let's put those together like so. Let's call this app, and that's pretty much the only thing we need. And let me get that up. There you go. Now if I save and compile this thing, go back here, go to services. That's there. I can totally start it. So that wasn't working earlier, but that all got fixed. So that's great. And it was good to do this on the stream and kind of find some new issues out there. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer questions for the rest of the stream. Close that one. I think I kind of really like the synergy of this plus the circuits assistant, right? Like, yeah, I know exactly how to make a salted hash password, right? But it saves so much time to just ask the thing to do that, and then I can create a component library from that. And I think because we test on Windows, the creating component library twice thing probably didn't show up on Windows. But yeah, found a bug, which is that the first or second one, I think, does not have is not in caps. So that could be, it's a little weird. And probably doesn't work on Windows, right? So but it's also not a problem on Windows. So essentially what happened here was I created the component here, right? So other specify below, this I put team matcher in lowercase, right? Then I created this one, but we selected team matcher here. And if you notice, this team matcher is uppercase. And so what happens is, because this is Linux, those are different folders. So team matcher, the first one, is lowercase. The team matcher, the second one, is uppercase. So we only want the lowercase. We never want the uppercase. So even though here everything's like uppercase, that's like a style thing. It really shouldn't be uppercase. In reality, it's just uppercase because style-wise, it's a little bit better. These folders all have lowercase, so when we create a component, it should be creating the component with lowercase characters. Yeah, so it's a simple thing to fix, and it doesn't show up in Windows because in Windows it doesn't distinguish between uppercase and lowercase, so it just worked, right? And it doesn't not work in Linux, right? It just means that if you look at the compiled code, one imports this one, and then the other one imports that one. And the problem is, if I then took this code and then moved it to Windows, it would then no longer work. One of these would overwrite the other, and then there would be a missing component. But otherwise, it kind of mostly works. And yeah, essentially the remaining work in the post, right, this branch, when true, we have a user, and so we will, similar to when we're doing the registration, perform some SQL queries to set some stuff in the database. And then finally, for the idea page, this get route, which currently renders the template. But before we render the template, we're going to want to look up some information in Vecto. And so the idea is we'll use Vecto to have an index of all the ideas, and that's how, and all the people as well. So that part I didn't get to today. But yeah, I'll be working on that tomorrow. And I'm thinking of including a lighter version of this as a template of sorts. Yeah, you don't want templates to be too complicated. And if this is going to be an actual application, it's going to be maybe about twice or 3 times this size. So, you know, I'll have to organize it a little bit, but it's not terrible. It's just like, it's going to be a little bit big and not really suitable for templates. So when I'll probably distill it into something more simple, like a website where you can search in Vecto for terms or something like that, just to get the similarity visible in a page. Something much simpler like that is something I will be creating as a template as well. So if you're interested in doing that for yourself, stay tuned. Sign up for the Xpress AI waiting list, as we'll be opening that up in about 2 weeks, unless there's some horrible problem in between. But barring anything like that, it should work. You should be expecting to be kind of brought on board within the next 2 or 3 weeks, give or take. Yeah, so that's that for today's live stream. There's a Builders Weekend ice breaking session tomorrow. So if you're in Tokyo, not sure yet if you want to join Builders Weekend or not, but are able to, I would suggest to come to the Builders Weekend ice breaking session, so get to know the people. I'll have a lot of people kind of registering on this thing, and I'll be showcasing it. So if you looked at this and had questions or wanted to know more, come join us in the ice breaking session. If you can't make it to the ice breaking session, feel free to come to the Builders Weekend itself and ask me about this. We'll be there mainly to answer questions and everything like that. So yeah, so that's all for today's live stream. It was pretty productive and nice bug finding session for a couple of things, and now the platform is better. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week, just before the Builders Weekend. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. Talk later.